The woman in the plain grey dress had not said a word in 11 minutes. She sat at the end of the table, hands folded, manila folder beneath them, no lawyer beside her. The fluorescent light above the conference room in the Lancaster County Family Services building hummed like a question nobody wanted to answer. Across the table, Dennis Hartwell, 44, senior caseworker, was still talking. Outside, 2 children she had put to bed 14 nights in a row were waiting in her mother's kitchen. They had asked her this morning what would happen today. She had said, "I'm going to read carefully." In 4 minutes, Hartwell would ask her to sign something she hadn't finished reading. She intended to finish reading it. The conference room smelled like burnt coffee and carpet cleaner. 3 chairs on one side of the table, 1 on the other. Hannah Yoder noted the chairs before she sat down. 3 to 1 told you everything about what kind of conversation this was supposed to be. Beside Hartwell, a younger woman, name tag Claire, Family Services intern, had a yellow legal pad she hadn't written on yet. Across from both of them, the 3rd chair held a stack of files and a sense of conclusion that had clearly arrived before Hannah did. Hartwell touched his watch. He'd done it 4 times since she walked in. "Miss Yoder." The way he said it meant, "Move along." "We've reviewed the arrangement twice. The children are settled. This just makes it official." Hannah looked at the document. Page 4. She was still on page 4. "I haven't finished reading it," she said. No apology in it. The cadence of someone who learned early that extra words cost you. "It's standard language. Then it will read the same in 5 minutes." Claire's pen touched the legal pad, first mark she'd made. Here is what Dennis Hartwell saw. A plain grey dress with hooks and eyes, no buttons, the way her mother had sewn since before Hannah was born. A white cap pinned so tight it hadn't shifted once. Hands on the table that had baled hay, kneaded bread, held 2 children through night fevers. No smartphone, no watch, no sign of anywhere else. He saw plain people, simple, probably overwhelmed by the paperwork. He did not see Philadelphia. He did not see the certificate, the 2 buses and 1 transfer, the family court sessions she'd sat in the back row, notebook open, watching what happened to women who came in alone with documents they hadn't been allowed to finish reading. He didn't see any of that, because Hannah Yoder had not offered it. She never did. There was a reason for that. It wasn't shame and it wasn't strategy. It was something harder to explain, something that lived in the specific silence between who she had been and who she had chosen to become. She'd get to it. Not yet. Page 5. The children were not hers by blood. Everyone in the room knew that. What the document did not reflect, she had been their primary caregiver for 14 months. Their mother, her cousin Rebecca, was in a treatment facility in Chester County. The father, Marcus Webb, had retained an attorney and was not present. He had not seen the children in 7 of those 14 months. What the document did reflect? Marcus Webb would receive full custody pending Rebecca's discharge, contingent on completion of an inpatient program. Specifically, Section 3B, contingent on Broadfield Family Recovery Center's reunification track. Hannah turned to page 5, then back to page 4. She read the citation again. "Ms. Yoder," a new edge in Hartwell's voice, still polite, "done. We have another session at 2 o'clock. I'm aware of your schedule." She set her finger on Section 3B. "I'm identifying an error." He stopped. Claire looked up. "Page 4, Section 3B. Hannah didn't raise her voice. The document cites Broadfield's Family Reunification Program as the qualifying completion pathway. Broadfield closed that track in February. The citation doesn't have a live referent, which means the contingency has no verified endpoint. Hartwell stared at her. "Without a verified endpoint," she continued, "temporary placement defaults to permanent under Section 7, which is 3 pages back." He picked up his own copy, found Section 7, read it, touched his watch, not the nervous habit this time. Calculating. Ms. Yoder. Carefully now. Where did you... A woman in my community, Hannah said. Her daughter was supposed to go to Broadfield. They told her in February it was closed. A pause. Plain people talk to each other, Mr. Hartwell. She reached into the manila folder, set 3 pages on the table, printed, clean, cited. A formal objection to Section 3B, with 2 case precedents from Lancaster County Family Court, both within the last 4 years, both involving incorrectly cited facility designations, both overturned on appeal. Claire made a sound that was not quite a word. Hannah had written it the night before, at her mother's kitchen table, lamplight, 2 children asleep down the hall. The smell of wood smoke and dish soap and the particular quiet of a house where people had been praying in the same rooms for generations. She had not told anyone she was bringing it. This cites Lapp versus Lancaster County DCFS 2022, Hartwell said, reading. Yes, that's a fairly specific case to... I know the case. She let a beat go by. I sat in on the appeal in Philadelphia before I came home. He looked at her again. The dress, the cup, the hands. You're not a lawyer, he said. The second time he'd said it. This time it was a question. No. She folded her hands back over the folder. But the error is still an error. He made a call at 1:47 p.m. Hannah waited in the hallway. Plain wooden chair, the kind that doesn't invite you to stay. She watched the light move across the linoleum. She had done this before, waited in rooms while other people decided things. The waiting felt the same in any dress. A child had left a drawing on the chair beside her. A house, stick figures, sun in the corner with straight lines radiating out. Warmth, the only way a small child knows to draw it. She kept her eyes on it until Hartwell came back. We're going to need to refile Section 3B, he said. He did not look comfortable saying it. The session is postponed pending correction. She stood. The boys, she said. Noah and Caleb, where do they stay tonight? Something moved across Hartwell's face. Not shame, adjacent. With you, he said, until the corrected filing. She nodded once, picked up the folder, walked toward the door. Ms. Yoder. She stopped, didn't turn. You came back, he said, from Philadelphia. Why? The question sat in the air between them. She did not answer it. Not because she didn't have an answer, because some answers belong to the person who lived them, not to the room where someone finally thought to ask. She pushed the door open and walked out. Old Daniel, the grey gelding, turned his head when he heard her steps on the gravel of the east lot. She put her hand flat on his neck. Warm, the smell of horse and hay, the specific patience of an animal that has learned to trust one person completely. She climbed up. The folder sat in her lap. Traffic noise fell behind her as Daniel found his pace on Route 340, slow and certain, the rhythm of something that doesn't hurry and doesn't need to. She had not won. She understood that clearly. The filing would be corrected, another session scheduled. Marcus Webb's attorney would come prepared next time. This was not over, but tonight Noah and Caleb would sleep in beds they knew. That was not nothing. It was not everything. It was what today had given her. The farmhouse appeared at the end of the lane in late afternoon light, smoke from the chimney, a figure in the doorway. Her mother, small, one hand raised. Hannah did not hurry the horse. She thought, briefly, the way you press on a bruise to check if it still hurts, about the studio apartment, the city noise below, the morning of the phone call, standing there not knowing which direction to face when she needed to pray. She had known, in her mother's kitchen. That was the whole answer. It was still not enough. It had never stopped being both things at once. Daniel turned at the gate on his own. Habit. Home. Noah came out of the house at a run, Screen door slapping behind him, and grabbed her hand before she'd fully stepped down from the buggy. Caleb followed 3 steps behind. More careful always, the one who watched before he moved. "Did they listen?" Noah asked, straight at her. 7 years old, serious as weather. She looked at him. "Enough," she said. She took both their hands and walked them inside, into the smell of supper and lamplight and her mother's particular silence, which was not the absence of words, but the presence of something older than words. The folder stayed under her arm. Tomorrow she would read it again.